Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015-2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Health. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating Sexual Health Week in UK. This entire week, starting from September 11th to September 17th, is commemorated as and also observed as Sexual Health Week. As part of National Sexual Health Awareness Week, we are highlighting the importance of treating our sexual health as seriously as we would consider any other aspect of our health, including regular checkups, testing for HIV and sexually transmitted infections, and raising awareness about issues related to healthy relationships. Talking about sex can be quite embarrassing, and even with advancements made to reduce the stigma, there is still some stigma attached to sex. Some people don't have enough knowledge about safe sex practices. That said, let's take a closer look at the Sexual Health Week. Aiming to keep everyone updated regarding sexually transmitted infections, as well as sex education, Brook, a UK-based charity, holds a Sexual Health Week across England to raise awareness of these issues. As a result of the Children and Social Work Act 2017, which established the criteria for the education of relationships and sex education in schools, the government devised a plan to make it mandatory from 2019 with an option to extend the deadline to September 2020 if necessary. So relationships and sex education are now required in all schools, including primary, independent, academies, maintained, and free schools under new legislation. Special education facilities are included in the new legislation. Sexual Health Week was born out of the belief that everyone deserves a great sex life and that no one should be criticized for it. Sexual health and well-being information should be widely accessible. They consider that everyone has the opportunity to make educated decisions about their bodies and know their alternatives. In previous years, the week has also focused on issues that affect a large number of people, such as alcohol and sexual health, as well as talking to spouses about contraception. In 2010, very first sexual health campaign aimed at people over 50 was launched. In recent years, there have been an increased worry in the country about children being introduced to sex at an early age. The appearance of sensual themes in popular music videos, movies, and web series and various media content has increased in recent years. While abortion is lawful in England, Wales, and Scotland under the Abortion Act, homosexuality is legal in England, Wales, and Scotland under the Sexual Offences Act. Abortion was legalized in 1960. To provide contraception for teenagers under 16, parental consent is needed in 1980. So the government announced its strategy to reduce teenage pregnancy rates in England. It calls for better guidelines on contraception for under 16s and new criteria to determine whether or not a program is providing services to young people. In reducing teenage pregnancy rates in 1990. Children and Social Work Act, this act set the standards for the education or relationships and sex education in schools as stipulated by the Children and Social Work Act 2017. So the goal or the targeted promotion event addressing topics related to sexual health and relationships will be held to raise awareness about how training and support are available, as well as how they can assist in the formulation of policies. To participate in any intimate sex action requires consent. Regardless of age, any sexual contact lacking consent is unlawful. Consent to sexual activity is 16 in the UK. Any sexual activity involving two people must have both parties' consent. This includes both genders, straight, gay, or bisexual. Sexual health is critical for pleasant sex life, protection from STDs, STIs, and choice of how and when to procreate or avoid pregnancy. Being sexually healthy includes avoiding unplanned pregnancy and STDs and or STIs. So discover yourself about what you don't know about before. Learn more about your sexual health and wellness so that you are updated with the information. Don't be afraid to engage in conversation with people and educate them. Encourage people to have open and positive talks about their sexual health and wellness. Attend activities that provide you with the resources and confidence you require to provide exciting and inclusive sex education. It could be a webinar, seminar, or a training or anything, as long as you are learning online or offline. In terms of sexual health, well-being is more important than absence of sickness. Respect, safety, and freedom from prejudice and abuse are all important aspects of sexual health. The fulfillment of certain human rights is necessary for the preservation of one's sexual health. Sexual health is important throughout a person's lifetime, not only for those who are in their productive years, but also for those who are younger or older. Sexual health can be manifested in a variety of ways, including through various sexualities and modes of sexual expression. Sexual Health Week teaches about consent. People who are aware of the positive sexual health are more likely to have consensual sex when they have first sex. Sexual Health Week helps to reduce pregnancies as people are learning more about and using condoms and contraceptions. This reduces the rate of unplanned pregnancies and STIs. During this week, make sure you explore about sexual health. Sexual health is very important for our bodies and minds. It can help us not to rush into having sex if we don't feel ready, no matter the pressure exerted. Today is also commemorated as Ironman Wales in UK. Is a massive sporting event that takes place on Pembrokeshire. Spectators from all over the world and unbelievable routes help to make this race very legendary. But the 17-hour race course built for only the toughest athletes is even more intriguing. Participants must swim 2.4 miles, cycle 112 miles, and then run a marathon. 10 by Pembrokeshire Wales is known as Iron Town as it serves as a perfect location for the annual event, which draws athletes from all over the world. Spectators spend their entire day cheering on their favorite athletes and marveling at their breathtaking scenery. The Collins family took part in the Mission Bay Triathlon in San Diego on September 25, 1974, when Judy and John Collins relocated from California to Hawaii in 1975. They decided to create a single-day endurance event that would become known as Ironman. On September 18, 2016, the first Ironman Wales took place in Tenby, Pembrokeshire. Every year since then, prominent athletes from across the world have competed in a timed course dubbed the hardest in the world. The event includes 2.4-mile swim in Carmarthen Bay, a 112-mile cycle ride around the Pembrokeshire coast, and a marathon through the streets of Tenby and its surroundings. Despite being only a half-decade old, Ironman Wales has become a popular sports event in the United Kingdom and its adjacent nations. A beautiful morning swim on Tenby's Standy North Beach, a wild cycling course around the Pembrokeshire coastline, and a rowdy town centre serves as a primary environment for the whole event. Meanwhile, the Tenby community goes to the great lengths to ensure that both athletes and the spectators stay safe while enjoying the stunning courses in Pembrokeshire. From comfortable lodging bookings to breathtaking natural scenery, the event is a wonderful experience. Although Ironman Wales 2021 was postponed owing to the pandemic, this year event is expected to attract over 1,500 athletes. With such a big number of athletes and spectators expected, the Tenby and Pembrokeshire communities have recruited a large number of local volunteers to ensure the event works successfully. While the marathon is a primary event, accommodation in the city allows spectators and athletes to appreciate the pristine charm of West Wales. Beautiful cottage accommodations overlook the sea and offer an ambience conducive to rest and recreation. Athletes have 2 hours and 20 minutes to finish the swim course before the final bike marathon. The Ironman Wales entry fee is approximately 12 euros. Or 12 pounds. The overall prize fund for 2021-2022 Ironman and Iron Women series was USD 2,24,000. Winnings will be distributed evenly between the Ironmen and Iron Women, and with both genders getting an equal amount of money for each race and overall placings. From the windy mountain ranges to the serene beaches, you can easily get lost in the breathtaking scenery of West Wales. Take advantage of Ironman Wales to explore the beautiful scenery. And don't forget to take lots of pictures too. Whether you are in a fancy bed and breakfast or you would prefer to stay in a townhouse hostel, you'll find a variety of fancy accommodation options in Pembrokeshire. The cottages are designed to provide a cozy feel. If you feel up to the task, you can register and compete in the Ironman Wales. It will give you the chance to meet thousands of professional athletes that attend the event from all over the world. The most castles per square mile, Wales easily boasts more castles than any other European country, with over 400 castles spread across just over 8,000 square miles. Because the rules state that the Prince of Wales title is bestowed on to the oldest son of the British king or queen, the eldest son of any ruling monarch of England automatically becomes the Prince of Wales. Wales is one of the few countries with many historical national symbols, from dragon on its flag to the daffodil and the leek. The longest and fastest zip wire in Europe, designed at the Zip World Slate Caverns in Bethesda, North Wales, attract travelers all year round. And it's the longest lake in 6 kilometers at 6,000 meters. The longest lake is known as Llyn Tegid, which translates as the Lake of Serenity. The challenging terrain and the stunning environment continue to draw professional athletes from all over the world. While the athletes race to complete the course as quickly as possible, onlookers cheer them on throughout the day. Due to the popularity of the Ironman Wales and the big turnout expected each year, many tours are normally provided to help people from their way around. And with the racetrack around the entire town, it's difficult to spend an entire day without discovering something new. The event allows communities to showcase their rich cultural heritage. Not only that, but it allows people to form contracts and possibly make beneficial commercial connections. Today is also commemorated as Libraries Remember Day in US to acknowledge the role of public libraries in social welfare. A public library is a place of learning where anyone become a member by paying a small fee. Libraries allow us to access information online, read and discover books, take notes, and form communities that are centered around learning and knowing. Libraries are a storehouse of knowledge and they support equal learning opportunities for everyone. Despite their age or background, libraries also play a crucial role in cultivating the habit of reading and seeking answers to what we don't know. After the ghastly attacks of the Twin Towers on September 9, 2001, there were talks on its 10th anniversary regarding how to remember the victims and honor their memory. It seemed obvious that the most fitting memorial would be to build a public library on the site of what was World Trade Center. Libraries represent knowledge and equal access to the knowledge. They also stand for the freedom of expression, a celebration of diversity, preservation of heritage, and hope for the future. A library represents everything that stands firmly against terrorism, hatred, bigotry, and fanaticism. Thus, it was decided that on September 11th, America will celebrate its public libraries. Libraries have been part of our social structure since earliest times. The first library dates back to 2600 BC. Since then, every important civilization has kept a track of its history in archives, which were kept in the libraries. The libraries of powerful emperors and rulers given us some of the most celebrated works of literature. Libraries Remember Day is celebrated by facilitating communication, fostering citizenship, promoting understanding, guaranteeing freedom of access to information, and welcoming everyone to the libraries as a symbol of freedom and fearlessness. In commemoration of the victims of September 11, 2001 tragedy, Libraries Remember Day celebrates the role public libraries play in the preservation of free society. Many public libraries across America remain open for the entire 24 hours on this day. The day starts at the midnight and closes on the next midnight. Throughout the day, activities, remembrance, and performances take place on the libraries. Libraries are common community hubs. In addition to reading and borrowing books, they offer a safe haven for kids with games and book clubs. There are usually three types of libraries. Academic libraries serve colleges and universities. Public libraries serve cities and towns of all types. School libraries serve students from kindergarten to grade 12. The term may be used for patrons, clients, information users, information seekers, consumers, readers, etc. So visit your school, college, or community library On Libraries Remember Day, spend an hour or two reading and browsing books. Check if your library is organizing any Library Remember Day events. This is also a day to renew your library membership, rediscover the joys of visiting library and spending time among books. A library is nothing without an efficient librarian. Show your librarian that you care by writing them a thank you note or surprising them with a cup of coffee. Not all books have a proper cover. In the Harvard Library, there are 3 books suspected to be bound in human skin. So the oldest continually operating library in the world was established in AD 565 and still exists. American President Theodore Roosevelt read at least 1 book per day and was a speed reader. An average Indian reads 10.7 hours every week, and Indians love to read. Teres Calderon is the world's fastest reader. She can read 80,000 words per minute with 100% comprehension. So reading is a productive way of spending time. It refines our creativity and makes us empathetic. Libraries play a huge role in sustaining our love for books. The day was born out of the ghastly terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. Libraries Remember Day reminds that no hate can survive the power of love and knowledge. Libraries bring communities together. We visit libraries to meet like-minded people and make friends. The day also honors the central role the libraries have assumed in our daily lives. Today is also commemorated as National Boss Employee Exchange Day in US. This is a special day for bosses and employees to switch places in order to get a taste of each other's responsibilities. For just one day, both groups get to step into each other's shoes. So now, before you slide into your boss swivel chair, let's take a look at some history. This history of National Boss Employee Exchange Day is unknown, but the history of work is perhaps as old as man himself. Humans have engaged in some form of labor or other since the beginning of the time. In the prehistoric era, work was mainly subsistent in nature and limited to the bare tasks required for survival, such as cultivation of food and building of shelters. As civilization rose, so did the division of labor. People who were proficient in certain tasks began to specialize and receive compensation for their work. During the Middle Ages, feudal societies emerged in Europe. During this era, workers called vassals were given possession of the land in exchange for service to lord. However, the system was unsatisfactory as it led to unfair treatment of workers. The Renaissance era gave birth to better working conditions for workers who began earning higher wages and more liberties. The Industrial Revolution further solidified this new beginning. From 1760 to 1840, machinery began to replace labor-intensive work. In the modern era, there are international and regional laws that ensure that the rights of the workers are adequately protected. Work could be mental or sedentary. Modern developments have even made remote work a possibility. After the COVID-19 pandemic, which had an unforgettable impact on the world, 80% of the workers in the US were still carrying out remote work as of April 2021. Today is also commemorated as National Hot Cross Bun Day in US. A hot cross bun is made from yeast dough and is usually a bit sweet. Some may even contain spices such as cinnamon, along with raisins, currants, or other dry fruits. Most of us prefer having a hot cross bun for breakfast accompanied with a cup of tea or a glass of warm milk and always a generous dose of butter. They make for a scrumptious and filling breakfast food. Some superstitious people believed that these buns had medicinal or healing powers, while others believed that the buns baked on Good Friday would never go stale. Others were of the opinion that hot cross buns could ward off evil spirits, and a few others claimed that the buns protected sailors from shipwreckers while on sea voyages. Although hot cross might have existed before Christianity, these buns have been historically only eaten on Good Friday as a Christian symbol of the crucifixion. However, in many places, hot cross buns are now widely sold and eaten practically every day of the year. The superstitions also seem to be fading since buns are no longer used for any other purpose other than having to fill when you are hungry. Otherwise, earlier hot buns are inextricably linked to Easter and Christianity, but in reality, they probably have pre-Christian origins. Slice open the hot cross buns along with the width and butter inside. Sandwich the bun back together and eat. You can eat one slice at a time if you prefer. Fresh hot cross buns are especially nice this way, but do not eat more of it because it's also classified under junk food. Occasionally you can eat, but don't make it a regular diet. So when you are tasting, add new flavors or spices. When you bake your own batch of hot cross buns, you may add nuts, chocolate chips, or lemon. There are up to 200 varieties of bread. Bread goes stale 6 times faster in the fridge than at room temperature. So don't store bread in the fridge. People use soft bread crumbs to erase pencil marks as bread was used as an eraser. The first meal consumed on the moon was bread and wine in the Western culture. Since their origin, hot cross buns have a long, interesting history. So you can look back and see how these buns have made their ways. Everyone loves buns, a favorite breakfast treat, and invites to bake and experiment variations. Put your inner chef to work and see what's interesting recipes you can make or you can come up. Today is also commemorated as National Make Your Bed Day in US. Treat your bed with respect. It deserves on September 11th. While you are turning off your blaring, chirping, or beeping alarm, consider that you have an actual bed to sleep on is still relatively new given the entirety of civilization. It wasn't all that long ago that our ancestors slept on mounds of leaves and mulch, or if they were well off, big bags of feathers crouched from a barnyard fowl. That should give you a new appreciation for your 500 thread count sheets and a microfleece plush duvet cover. So do the right thing. Make up your bed every morning and be grateful that you are not sleeping on the hard, cold ground. Show off that beautiful bed if you are still using some ratty old Afghan that your college roommate left behind, or thin poly blend comforter from one of those cheap looking bed in a bag kits. Splurge on something luxurious like a feather comforter tucked into a crisp white cotton duvet. You don't want to leave something so indulgent on the floor. If your tastes tend towards whimsical, try a squishy kawaii pillow shaped like either a corgi or a piece of buttered toast. Yeah, they do exist. So mites thrive in warm, moist environments like recently vacated beds. In addition to changing your bed sheets regularly and even vacuuming your mattress once in a while, refrain from making your bed as soon as you get up. Instead, throw covers all the way down and brew up some coffee or take a shower. Then you will be feeling and smelling better, and your bed will be properly aired out. Some folks love letting their feet stick out from the undercovers while sleeping. Other folks like everything tucked in, nice and snug. If you belong to the latter camp, learn how to make hospital corners, a technique first developed by nurses who make patient care easier. Hospital corners can help keep your sheets nice and secure. Or watch a video on how to correctly fold a fitted sheets, which many people consider sheer sarcasm. When it comes time to hit the hay, who wants to straighten our tangled sheets and plump up flat pillows? If you take a few moments earlier in the day to tidy the bed, there's no hassle at night. All you have to do is slip between those sheets, pull up the blankies, and drift off to the dreamland. Straightening the bedclothes actually gives you a lot of bang for your buck. If it seemed like a small accomplishment, but it sets you up for the whole day. One good habit leads to other good habits. A neatly made bed not only improves your state of mind, it benefits your body too. The dust those bunnies shed and the allergens produced by animal dander will stay off your sheets when you make your bed in the morning, and there will be less sneezing at night. Moreover, the National Sleep Foundation reports that people who make their beds regularly actually sleep better. Today is also commemorated as No News is Good News Day in US. It's true, interesting, because nowadays we see a lot of bad news only in news, media, everywhere, newspaper, news channels. Almost most of the things are bad news that are coming up. So if there is no news, that means, generally we can anticipate that there is nothing bad that has happened. At least significant event that news channels or news media thinks that it is not worth reporting. So while it may seem amusing, you would be surprised at how much bad news affects the general mood in the public atmosphere. But on No News is Good News Day, you can take a break from 24 hours news cycle and focus on more positive thoughts. As technology continues to make it easier to connect with literally any part of the world, being able to switch off from the endless information frenzy is becoming important. On this day, you can take a breather and shield yourself from worrying about any news by going offline. Although this day is native to US, its origin and history are largely unknown. However, the pressures of media and social media and political conflicts sprouting daily, not forgetting climate change, it's become very necessary to unplug from time to time. Staying away from external information can greatly improve the quality of your mood, while consequently boosts your productivity, but most times it's hard to maintain high levels of motivation because our timelines keep us updated on every single conflict happening anywhere in the world. With practically everything these days beginning or ending on social media, there's always a full storehouse of content to keep your phone surfing for hours. And even though it feels like most online content is pretty harmless, they can subtly influence their audience and choices they make. A day when everyone can unplug from this frenzy is a great concept and deserves to be adopted globally. Unplug from the internet and switch off the TV, pick up a board game, or take a stroll to the beach. When you give it much thought, you will realize that there are endless activities you can do. So No News is Good News Day. Apart from the psychological benefits of having peace of mind for a full day, you feel energized and refreshed when you get back into the mix of things. And as more people strive to achieve a better work-life balance, this day is bound to gain more recognition in the coming years. So the expression, "no news is good news," is commonly used to describe the absence of any news from a source that is known for reporting bad news. Why is news so often negative? This is due to the media's use of a negative bias to boost their bottom lines. Spin, clickbait, headlines, and exaggerations are used to achieve this. For publications, bad news attracts a lot of attention and generates a lot of revenue as well. As we see, it's quite common. Unfortunately, people are not attracted or excited by the positive news. Generally people say, okay, what's great in that? But whenever there is a negative news, people try to overreact, excite, and gossip and comment, discuss, whisper. All these things happen on negative news. That's why even the media houses, they want more because they are meant for, making business. Because a lot of money amount, funds are invested in it, and they want to make more money. So the more people watch, the more people hear, the greater the business they make through advertisements. So positive news often, unfortunately, it is, the sad state of all of us. We don't encourage positive news. So that's why even media houses to make business news. So most of the news are negative news only in almost all the media, with a few exceptions. So unplug from the internet or news, ignore your devices. With so many events happening worldwide, there's always something awesome and awful also on timeline. So read a book or visit beautiful scenery. On this occasion, it's an opportunity to unwind and reflect. It's much easier to think clearly and make plans. You are not stressed. It helps to reduce depression. It also increases environmental awareness. With so much going on in the world at a given time, we inevitably hear something that causes us concern. And most of the time, we end up worrying about things that we can't change. On the other hand, you can also enjoy a full day of positive thoughts on No News is Good News Day. We become increasingly disconnected from our physical surroundings as we continue to upgrade our devices daily. Unplugging can allow you to see things that are new to you because the news and the internet are no longer available to you. Today is also commemorated as Patriot Day in US. And it's a time to reflect on devastating terror attacks that took nearly 3,000 lives. We commemorate those who we lost and give thanks to the brave first responders who put their lives on the line. So take a moment today to consider what we stand for a nation and how we work together to make a world a better place for all. So the bravery of American citizens and uninformed personnel in the face of one of the world's most terrible terrorist attacks is remembered on the Patriot Day on September 11. It was a terrifying day when 4 planes were hijacked on September 11, 2001, as known as 9/11. The hijackers flew 3 planes into iconic buildings, the Pentagon in Washington, DC, and the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. The 4th plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania after the plane passengers fought the hijackers. Nobody is certain where it was supposed to crash, but some people believed it was headed for the White House, the US Capitol, the Camp David presidential retreat in Maryland, or one of the several nuclear power plants along the eastern seaboard. So impact of attack was devastating. Around 3,000 lives were lost between planes, passengers, those in buildings that were struck, and front line workers trying to save people. It was the biggest act of terrorism ever in the United States. Since then, airplane security has become stricter in many countries as they attempt to avoid future terrorist attack like 9/11. Though we don't know exactly what has happened or what's the modus operandi or exactly, but it's all as per the information available on the internet. So we don't know whether it is true or false, whether it is correct or wrong, but whatever is available based on internet, it is subject to verification and subject to official statements. So the majority of the lives that were people that worked in the Twin Towers, especially the floors above the collision point, as people were trapped and stranded at the top of the burning skyscraper, 411 men and women working in emergency services lost their lives trying to fight fires and rescue people from buildings. It was a heartbreaking attack, which is why Patriot Day was proclaimed by President George W. Bush and is recognized every year on September 11. On Patriot Day, US flags are lowered halfway, and there is a countrywide moment of silence at 8:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and which is when the first plane crashed into one of the Twin Towers. Although the attacks were in the US, Patriot Day is recognized worldwide as the news devastated and impacted people all over, as reported on the internet. So all this information is subject to correction or verification because it's on a public domain on internet. So today we are also commemorating Maori Language Week in New Zealand. Maori Language Week is an annual celebration that held in the third week of September. This year it takes place from September 11 to 18. This initiative is also called Te Wiki Otiro Maori, is government sponsored. It aims to inspire New Zealanders to speak the Maori language proudly. Maori Language Week is part of a larger effort to revitalize the Maori language. New Zealanders and indeed the global community are encouraged to learn the language and experience the rich culture of the region. Events are held across the country to mark the observance and showcase the beauty of New Zealand. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations, and thank you everyone for joining us. So we will see you all tomorrow at the same time. So before leaving the platform, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. And those who have attended yesterday's Suicide Prevention Day seminar, the certificates have been released. Those who have registered, those who have participated, and those who have provided feedback, for those certificates have been issued. There are many participants who have attended. They just joined. So many have joined for a few minutes and left. But as the registration form was not initially circulated, but it was only circulated while, just a few hours before the seminar, and also in the seminar, very few have registered. So we request everyone, those who have registered or those who have participated or those who have attended yesterday's event, kindly register yourself if you have already participated so that you can be eligible for the certificate. Because we don't have much details, we will be not able to issue certificate. Those who have already completed the formalities, you can download the certificate from the website. So thank you everyone once again for joining us. Before leaving, make sure you are filling up and completing the feedback form which has been raised in the form of polls. And also do not forget to register for this webinar on a daily basis. The registration link has been shared in the chat box and the link is same for every day. You can register for every day on a daily basis to be eligible for the certificate. And we are observing some people are joining at the end only to fill up the feedback form. But, the eligibility criteria is you have to register, you have to participate, you have to provide feedback, including overall feedback at the end, if any, and opt for the certificate, then only certificates will be generated. This is not like other platforms. We would like to inform. Many times we see when people communicate, they think that they are doing, they are giving all this. If they are giving, better you attend them only. So that is not a correct way to communicate, because they are not us and we are not they. So you will not do what others are doing. You may do, may not do what others are doing, or others may not do what you are doing. So it is not at all a correct way to compare. So whatever is happening here, you follow the instructions. As per the instructions, as per the eligibility criteria, we will be issuing the certificates. All the certificates will be issued at once for webinar series. For other conferences, workshops, they will be issued on an event basis. So thank you everyone once again for joining us. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.